When we ask, US versus China, who leads in AI-driven warfare? We're not just talking about some sci-fi arms race or a hypothetical future. This is a real, unfolding contest that shapes not only how wars might be fought, but also who sets the rules for the technologies that increasingly run our world. And it's not just fighter jets or satellites anymore. We're talking swarms of drones, autonomous submarines, algorithm-powered cyberattacks, instant battlefield decision-making, all of it driven by code, data, and machine intelligence. Let's dive in with the big picture. Both the United States and China are pouring billions, yes, billions, into military applications of artificial intelligence. But their strategies, strengths, and weaknesses are surprisingly different, and understanding that is the key to figuring out who's actually ahead. For most of us in this room, AI isn't just an abstraction, it's in the apps we use, the way we work, and increasingly, part of the global tug-of-war between two superpowers. So, let's ground this in reality. Imagine a drone swarm operating over a contested territory, making its own decisions about targets, evasive maneuvers, or data gathering. That's not science fiction. Both the US and China are prototyping systems like these, machines that operate faster than humans can react. The question isn't just who has the best drones. It's who has the better AI to control them, to integrate them with other systems, and even to adapt on the fly. Let's look first at the United States. The US has massive, established advantages, think huge defense budgets, long-standing partnerships with the world's top tech companies, and access to enormous pools of talent from MIT, Stanford, and so forth. Institutions like DARPA and the US Defense Innovation Unit are constantly running competitions, funding startups, and encouraging the blending of Silicon Valley-style innovation with traditional military power. A key initiative here is the so-called Joint All-Domain Command and Control, the Pentagon's vision for linking every plane, ship, tank, and soldier through a single, AI-powered network. The theory is that with machine learning sifting through mountains of data in real time, commanders could see the whole battlefield, predict the enemy's moves, and coordinate responses faster than ever. Instead of hours or days, decisions could happen in seconds. And let's not forget, the US military has already used AI in combat zones, think AI systems sifting through drone video footage to detect threats, which saved hundreds of analyst hours, allowing humans to focus on more nuanced decisions. Or Project Maven, which harnessed deep learning to improve surveillance and reconnaissance. But, and this is critical, there are weaknesses. American defense procurement is notoriously slow. Tech companies like Google have sometimes pushed back on working with the Pentagon, with employees raising ethical concerns over how AI might be used in warfare. There's bureaucratic inertia. And while the US leads in pure research and chip design, a lot of manufacturing now happens abroad. Now, flip the map, let's talk about China. The Chinese government, under Xi Jinping, has made overtaking the West in AI a matter of national destiny, pumping unprecedented investments into both civilian and military AI. What makes China different? First, it's civil-military fusion. Their tech companies, literally Huawei, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, are required, by law, to share data and expertise with the Chinese military. Think of that, all the facial recognition data, surveillance feeds, social media patterns, they're all fair game for military use. China's strengths are in implementation, rapid prototyping, massive scale, and almost limitless access to data thanks to the surveillance state model. The PLA, or People's Liberation Army, is experimenting with AI for battlefield decision-making, autonomous vehicles, and probably most aggressively, information warfare, manipulating data, influencing public opinion, or disrupting enemy communications, all through AI. Real example, in 2019, China demonstrated drone swarms that could operate in coordinated ways, flocking like birds, evading obstacles, and attacking simulated targets. Their military cyber units are also using AI to automate the scanning and exploitation of software vulnerabilities. Here's something eye-opening, the intellectual property angle. China is a top filer of AI-related patents, often outpacing the US in raw numbers. But, and this is important, the US still leads in high-impact publications and foundational breakthroughs. In other words, China is winning on quantity, the US on quality. Where China lags is in certain key tech layers. Think of advanced semiconductor manufacturing. AI eats chips for breakfast, and the most advanced chips still overwhelmingly come from the US or its ally, Taiwan. US export restrictions on high-end chips, like those designed by NVIDIA, are designed to slow China down here. A crucial difference comes down to values and approach. In the US, there is serious, ongoing debate about the ethics of AI in warfare, about autonomous weapons, about human-in-the-loop decision-making, about civilian oversight. In China, the government's decisions face far less public scrutiny, and the interplay between private tech firms and the military is much more tightly controlled. This leads to faster implementation, but potentially riskier uses. Alright, so when we ask again, who is in the lead, the answer is, it depends on what kind of lead you mean. Technologically, the US still has the edge, particularly in sophisticated hardware, research, and some advanced AI software. American defense is still global, with a huge alliance network and unmatched capacity for power projection. Implementation and scale? That's where China's strengths shine. They take ideas and scale them up, hard and fast. There's no equivalent of Google employees publicly protesting killer robot programs in Beijing. The relationships between tech firms and the state are seamless, and top-down directives can bring a new surveillance algorithm or drone design from lab to urban pilots in months, not years. Morally and politically, the US is more cautious, which can be both strength and weakness. It slows down implementation, but forces greater attention to unintended consequences. What if an AI system misidentifies a target? What if autonomous weapons escalate conflict by accident? Let's get specific with some examples. In Ukraine, US and NATO support has leveraged AI for things like identifying missile threats or tracking Russian armor. But these are largely decision support tools. Humans still decide when to pull the trigger. In contrast, Chinese military thought leaders sometimes discuss intelligentized warfare, which means using AI at every level, from logistics to propaganda. If you want an eye-opening read, look up how China is integrating AI into its social credit system, then picture elements of that embedded in battlefield logistics or surveillance operations. Cyber is a whole other battlefront. Both countries have huge offensive and defensive cyber units, but China is often considered more aggressive in gray zone operations, such as parallel, covert, or deniable activities that fall short of direct military conflict. And again, AI is at the core, automating everything from phishing attacks to information warfare bots. This race isn't just about gadgets. It's about shaping the future norms of war. Will machines always need a human in the loop? Or will an AI someday have the authority to launch attacks? If the US sticks firmly to the first, but China doesn't, that's a massive asymmetry that could redefine not just warfare, but global power projection. So, who's ahead? Right now, if you're scoring points for innovative research, global alliances, and advanced chips, the US still leads. If you're scoring for speed, scale, willingness to blur ethical lines, and sheer volume of real-world data to power AI training, that's where China's catching up fast, and in some domains, like integrated urban surveillance, they may be ahead. But here's the catch, the gap is closing. The competition is fierce, the risks are high, and the outcome will shape not just military balance, but also the ethics, laws, and even human-machine relationships that define our era. If you're as fascinated by this evolving intersection of technology, ethics, and geopolitics as I am, don't forget to subscribe. I promise to keep bringing you deep dives, real-world examples, and honest conversations about the forces shaping the technological singularity and the world we're all going to inherit. Thanks for tuning in, and let's keep thinking critically about the future we're building together.